Good morning. Last morning in rustic, nature-filled Florida. I really love the nature exposure down here. I was at a place called Lido. I think it's Lido Key, and I saw one manatee, and I pointed it out to this girl, and she said, "Oh yeah, I've seen like 5 today." And then all of a sudden they're like everywhere, and like down the beach there was like 6 of them that came up on the sand. It was really cool. And then there's a rabbit situation here too that's so cute at night, and the birds. So emotional control is the it's not the nugget, it's kind of like the topic for my blog, and it's connected to these executive skill sets. And when I think of emotional control, I think of it as a skill set, and I don't think I realize how significant this phrase is, emotional control. And so I just want to clarify a couple things, and I think we'll just keep teasing away at it. We have this inside world, and when we can start to relate to it and start to understand it, life starts to feel way more manageable and way more meaningful, and really have nothing to do with your outside circumstances, situations, events. Although when you start to shift things on the inside, the things that start to show up in your experience do match that inside. It's just such a cool way of being in like day to day, and just recognizing that you have a lot more influence over your experience based on this ability to notice your thoughts and the story they tell. So emotional control. And emotional control is not, I think, what it presents itself to be. And the way we're all resilient, we all have our own experiences, situations, circumstances that happen, and we have the capacity to move toward them and thrive. It's all relative, and it's all your own experience. But when we use that phrase, emotional control, a person may consider them to have good emotional control because they're able to suppress their emotions, because they're able to not show emotions, and therefore have what is considered to be emotional control. But the noticing of that desire to control your emotions, or the noticing that you're controlling it, that all this shit's going on inside and you're trying to like swallow it down, the noticing of that and the learning how to release that, the learning of the story you tell about it. Because, and here's the thing too about with kids, is that when you're in a position of power, other people's emotions can seem like they're getting in the way of your plan, right? So it could be anything, right? If you think of teachers, parents, a boss, anybody in this perceived position of power, it seems like your plan is the important plan. So if other people's emotions are getting in the way, it can seem like they have something wrong with them. Like, your reaction is making me uncomfortable. Your reaction is limiting my ability to do my job. But the bottom line is, if you are stuck or spinning in the same results, once you start to notice these patterns, you can disrupt the patterns. When you validate your own sense of what it means to notice and name your emotions, to learn how to allow them. When you allow them, the energy can move, it can release, and then you have this access to this space of well-being. So emotional control is not controlling your emotions. Healthy emotional control is noticing what's coming up, noticing your emotional response to a situation, circumstance, event. It's most likely unexpected, unplanned, and then making a choice as far as how you respond to it. And that does take practice. This skill set that I think it might have been in like original like mindfulness-based stress reduction, noticing, naming, and then allowing. You're noticing and you're allowing your reaction, but you're doing it in a way where the power of those feelings is going to move through, and you can get back to a more balanced state of choice making. Notice, name, allow, release. And then there's this shared humanity where when we start to recognize our own patterns, we can see the patterns in others. So when others lose their shit, we don't have to react to it and go and make it worse. The shared humanity thing is like, I recognize that pattern. I know that pattern. I know that sometimes I'm out of control. I know that sometimes I overreact. So shared humanity is recognizing that, like you, I too know what it's like to say something stupid and get lost in my emotions. And so you're not adding to the issue and trying to discipline or consequence or gossip or whatever comes up. You're recognizing the pattern in a way that allows that person to kind of be able to move through it. And really, if we could start owning these patterns and being like, hey, when I said that yesterday, I was really emotional. I know trigger is a weird word, but they are. There's these emotional triggers that have nothing to do with the actual circumstance of the people. They're just there's this momentum, there's these paths and patterns of emotional responses we have. And the more we become aware of them, the more we can release them and understand them better. And then when we do get caught up in them, we can forgive ourselves, we can apologize to another, and we can kind of say what happened. And then we're modeling that. We're modeling that we recognize that we weren't right. We noticed that we were out of control. We can teach more by modeling, and that's what I would call healthy emotional control, is being the noticer, learning how to name what's going on, allowing it and releasing it, but then also just owning your experience. And I have this thing, O is observe, W's witness, notice. Own your experience in the now, the present moment, and then you've won the opportunity to make a choice.